For more on the Chibok girls, I'm joined from New York by international security professional Michael Clyne. He's also a specialist on issues facing Africa. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Elaine.
What kind of impact can this new video of the girls have on the negotiations between Nigeria's government and Boko Haram?
I think it was meant both as a proof of life video to sustain those negotiations and also as a media tool showing that Boko Haram, since its affiliation with the Islamic State or ISIS, has grown more media savvy. While it was shot in December, they chose to release it today, 2 years after the original abduction. While there's a long history of ransom negotiations and criminal kidnappings in Nigeria, this type of large-scale terroristic kidnapping is a different beast entirely. And with the country, or with Buhari's government, winning the ground war and the more conventional battle against Boko Haram, I personally don't see them moving ahead with some sort of ransom negotiation or prisoner swap. That would have been more likely a year ago when they were losing the war under the previous administration. But it does give a lot of hope to those families that at least some, or hopefully most, of their children are still alive. But it's a somber reminder of what happened 2 years ago and how far we have to come.
Well, I want to get to Buhari in just a moment, but as you mentioned, it has been 2 years, and so many people around the world want to know why there hasn't been any more progress in the case. You know, more than 200 girls, it was just an astounding number then, and it still remains now.
There's been a lot of what we call conventional counterterrorism progress on the ground, routing Boko Haram out of its former strongholds. But the group has instead just turned to its original kind of guerrilla tactics of hit-and-run attacks and using suicide bombers. And this is another really troubling legacy of the Chibok kidnapping, is that a lot of the suicide bombers in Nigeria, and especially lately in northern Cameroon, have been young women, probably kidnapped victims themselves.
There was a lot of hope Nigeria's new president, Muhammadu Buhari, would make some headway after Goodluck Jonathan, but you know, he's actually been in China during this anniversary. So is this simply not a priority for Nigeria's government?
He would certainly say that it is a priority, and he's said over a couple of times that the Boko Haram group has been defeated from posing an existential threat to the Nigerian state, to a much smaller scale problem. But try telling that to the families of the Chibok girls or the thousands of people who have been killed. He, since the beginning, has approached this on the diplomatic front, trying to forge a multinational task force among the 4 Lake Chad Basin countries to fight Boko Haram, and something like that does need Western and even Chinese backing if he can garner that through talks. But there are many people in Nigeria who say that in his diplomatic prowess, he has forgotten some of the problems on the ground.